Head Harvester Bill Arman here for the West Coast.
And Head Harvester Ed LaFlamme from the East Coast.
Now the topic today is keeping score.
Yeah.
We like to keep score, don't we? Remember that saying? I love that saying. What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets improved.
Right.
Now we've heard that various people, either Peter Drucker and your buddy
Jack Welch.
Those are kind of statements that they make a lot, and I'm a big believer of that. Whenever you start measuring something, it's amazing how you start improving it. Some people use a dashboard, a flash report, a scorecard, key performance indicators. It's just a handful of numbers that tell us that at a glance, in a real simple, short glance, you can tell how your business is doing, right? Some use their P&Ls out there, the profit and loss statements, and usually those are too late. They're usually completed sort of maybe 2 weeks to 2 months to 2 years later, and people aren't using those as tools. So it'd be nice to have a tool that you can look at a glance and measure how you do it. We call it the GROW card. It's an acronym for goal setting, reviewing progress, opportunities for learning, and W stands for winning.
Got it.
Keep your score.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you like to add to that, Harvester Ed?
Well, some of the things you may want to think about keeping score on or measuring would be safety. That's probably number one, safety. Next is your revenue. What are your sales? And not just the total sales. Break them down into departments. If you're not tracking them by department, like for example in QuickBooks they call them classes, right? Then do that. Okay, change your accounting system and do that. Track them by class or by department. You also want to track by gross margin. How well are you doing in each of the departments by gross margin? Customer retention, that's another big one. A lot of my clients don't do that, and they're starting to do that now. Also, your key employees, you want to track those guys too. Managers versus the field people. I think you'd probably
track them, the retention, how you keep your keepers, the identified keepers.
Right.
You bet.
You start losing too many, that can be a real problem. And then of course the big one, accounts receivable.
Get the money, show me the money.
Show me the money, yeah. 30, 60, 90 days. How much money is over 60 days in your company right now? That's something you need to know, because you got to get the money. What do you think, Bill? That's pretty good?
Show me the money.
Would you add anything else?
I think those are great ones to start off with.
Okay.
You know, now build goals in each of those. Maybe 4 goals in each of those. Move the safety from X mod to Y mod, right? How many accidents you're going to, non-recordable or recordable accidents you're going to have in the year or not want to have, right? So now you decide on the activities, the actions, your programs that you're going to have to achieve those goals, right? Review these regularly. Some of them, if it's an emergency, could be daily. Some of them are weekly. A lot of them are monthly and quarterly. So, but you know, have these up in front as a dashboard or a GROW card, as we call it. Have that so you can keep score. Hey, you know what? Tell you what. You want to send them a sample GROW card?
Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
So if you click down here below, right? We'll send you a sample Harvest Group GROW card.
Now, they may be wondering though, when you fill in these numbers, maybe you can explain that.
Well, I'd say monthly for the most part, and depending on how severe the situation is, safety, I'd track it daily. Do we have an accident today or didn't we?
Yep.
Production, especially on production type business like tree pruning or construction, percent completed that day versus percent billed. So you want to track those on a more regular basis. But I'd say some are monthly. Mostly would be monthly, I would say.
Yeah, and the good part about the GROW card is in the beginning of the year, you're gonna create it, and then you can compare it to what it looks like at the end of the year. And then eventually, once you get really good at it, some companies use these as incentives for your people.
You bet.
See, so I think it's very powerful. If you measure these areas, it can really improve your company dramatically.
So keep score, send in, and we'll send you a GROW card so you can start keeping score at your place. Head Harvester Bill Arman here from the West Coast.
And Head Harvester Ed LaFlamme from the East Coast.
Now let's keep score, shall we?
Yes, we better. Measure everything.
Measure how many people watch this. How about that?
That's a good idea. How many clicked on the video?
Click on there? Hopefully like 500, maybe 1,000.
Hundreds, yes.
Yeah, would that be a good one?
That'd be really good.
You're in charge of keeping score of that. That's on your dashboard.
Oh, I'll find out.
All right,
that's
good
easy
stuff. Let's get going.